Welcome to a new episode of the Bobcast presented by the Bobcat Sports Network. My name is Matt Ambrose, and to kick things off, I'm sitting down here with the head coach of the men's basketball team, Sean Brown. Coach, you took down Davis and Elkins, your only game this past week, 76-74, the final on Tuesday, and two games for your team this week, West Virginia State on Wednesday and Charleston on Saturday. So just looking at that Davis and Elkins games, the D&E game, what was your takeaway from that one?
Well, again, we had guys in and out of the lineup. I think this is the first. I think this is the first time we started a lineup that we had five. This is the fifth different starting lineup. So we're still looking at some things, and we saw some things in practice. We saw some things in film where thought we could possibly attack them, and we got out to a good start. Our guys are buying in. We have some young guys mixed with some older veterans, and I mean these young guys are buying in. They're
Yeah.
making plays now, and it feels good when you got a group of guys that's starting to trust and believe in what we're doing.
And one of the guys you had trust in late in the game, first year Jalen Johnson, was on the floor at the end of regulation. The ball ended up in his hands uh, with a chance to hit the three that would win the game. Ultimately got fouled, hit two free throws with zero point 0.6 seconds left to give you the win. Played just 11 minutes in the game as a whole, and those were his only 2 points of the game. But I remember back to before the season started, Jalen was someone that you spoke highly of in practice before the year started. So did that kind of play into the confidence that you had in putting him on the floor and also having him with the ball in his hands down the stretch?
Absolutely. And let me just go back just a little bit.
Yeah.
Jalen, he's a machine, man, and he's one of those kids, that I continuously stay on, but I could also continuously whisper in his ear, keep him going on the right track, and also keep him in a positive mindset.
Right.
Guys like that, he's a special player. He's a special talent. I'm gonna say that, and guys like that, you want to kind of let him develop into a special player. You don't want to put all kinds of restrictions on him, all kinds of handcuffs. And he tries to do everything you ask of him. You tell him to score. He'll set himself up to get a scoring opportunity. You ask him to dish the ball, he'll set someone else up. You want him to push the ball. That's what we really like of him. He's really pushing the ball in transition, and even after made basket, the opposing team make a basket. He's pushing that ball right back down at him, putting the defense on their heels, even if it's not pushing to get a score or get a quick shot. Those are little nuances, important things about the game that he already understands,
Hmm.
or he's buying into. And we saw that early. You know, we, I With the renovation of our gym, he's hungry. He wants to get in the gym. He wants to get in the gym bad. And just right now, we're trying to hold him back just a little bit because there's not a whole lot of gym time, and it's tough. We want to hold him back to kind of reserve him running into a wall, hitting that
Right.
rookie wall. But we also want him to eat. We want him to get in the gym. We want him to be hungry. We want him to get in the gym and get up 500 shots a day, 600 a day. So we try to find that fine line, and also try to find him some extra gym time. With all that being said, every time I come on the Bobcast, I feel myself talking about Jalen. The kid's a player. We like him a lot in the program, from the coaching staff all the way through our veteran players. We have a ton of confidence in him. As you said, Jalen played 11 minutes, but I think 9 of them was in crunch time.
Hmm.
Most of his minutes are finishing games, and we have that kind of trust in him, that kind of confidence, and obviously our veteran players do too. We had the ball. I think it was in Daniel's hands to end the game.
Yes.
He drove. He drew two. Usually he'll jump stop and shoot his little fadeaway and put it on his shoulders. But that shows you the amount of confidence they have in Jalen. I mean, he hits that shot at practice fairly often. I mean, he's probably our most consistent open shooter. on the team right now. And we have confidence in him to hit that shot. He probably overshot it just a little bit,
Yeah.
but we laughed. If he didn't get fouled, if that kid wasn't closing out so hard, he probably would have hit that shot. We have a ton of confidence in him. We knew he'd make at least one, if not all three of those free throws. Jalen is a really bright spot in the program. We got to keep him motivated. Keep him hungry.
And you mentioned earlier Alexander, the one who gave up the basketball to Jalen on that three. Daniel Alexander tied a career high in the D&E game, 33 points for him to go along with 7 boards in the win.
He's the guy.
That came on the heels of him getting to that 1,000-point mark against West Virginia Wesleyan. You look at his play through 6 games. What's your evaluation of him?
Well, we asked him to do a lot
Yeah.
early. Again, we had a ton of injuries. We had guys in and out of lineups again for various reasons. Right now, probably our best post player, a grad transfer, he got hurt right before the season started, 4 days before the first game. So we had to shuffle a lot of things around. And quite frankly, we asked him to do a lot. We're asking him to play a lot of minutes, and he hit a wall. Besides the fact that he hit a wall, we kind of feel like he hadn't quite been asked to do this much ever in his career. So he's figuring it all out. It was good to have a game like he had last Saturday. I think he went back, he watched film. He got some rest because he has been beat up. And he really analyzed things, and he takes that personal. We sat down as the coaching staff. We talked to him. I had a one-on-one talk with Daniel, just kind of where we are right now in the season and where we are with his progression. And we keep on telling him, we're encouraging him. We're happy with him. We're proud of what Daniel's done to this point, and I still have high expectations and high hopes for him. I think the 1,000 point thing also was in the back of his head,
Yeah.
which it is from as I see. I've coached several 1,000 point scores, and that kind of once you get around that 950 mark, things start to tense up and guys get tight, and guys and gals, because I've coached 1,000 point scorer as a young lady too. But folks get tight, they tense up, and that basket start to shrink, and they start to short arm things, and free throw percentage go down. And now that that's out of the way, I think he's gonna, and we had the Thanksgiving break. I think he's ready to roll now.
We also saw a big game.
He's the guy.
He is the guy. He
He's
is.
the guy. Make no mistakes about it.
Nah, leading scorer in the MEC right now as well, a little over 23
Oh, wow.
a game. Yep.
Really.
But another guy who had a big game against D&E, Torrance Stevens, a double-double for him, 12 points, 14 boards, just third career double-double. But more importantly, the first time he got into double figures in scoring since the season opener against Shaw. Is this the kind of play that we can expect to see from Torrance the rest of this year?
Well, I like to say yes, but he's a
Yeah.
young player. We don't know. He doubles as a post player, as a guard. He's been working on his guard skills. Obviously, everybody sees it. He can hit the three. He could stretch it out. He could probably shoot to about 23, 24 feet now.
Yeah.
So I challenged him at practice. In front of the guys, and he responded. He's been working really, really, really working on his game, working on his guard skills, and with that added dimension to his game, I think that allows him to get on the court a little more. This game, the Division II game, fits our guys a lot more than the Division III game, because our guys they could do multiple things, and they're athletic. I think with Torn extending his game out to the three-point line and working on his guard skills, he still have a lot to learn. Guarding up on the perimeter, taking care of the ball, making the right decisions in double teams and out of double teams. He's got to get better at all of that. But he has extended his game beyond the three-point line. He's learned some guard skills along with his post skills. He's still get offensive rebounds. He's an animal on the glass. He's hungry. He wants that ball. And quite frankly, we need a guy. We need a guy like that. And if Torrin can provide that for us every night, he'll be playing 30 minutes plus every night because he's hungry. And sometimes once he get mad, that motor gets to running. We can't take him. We can't seem to take him off the court.
We also saw in this game the rotation was a little bit smaller than we saw against Wesleyan. You played 14 guys against West Virginia Wesleyan back on the 23rd. 9 players for this D&E game last time out on last Tuesday. Is this the rotation you kind of want to utilize as the season goes on, or was it just kind of a matter of circumstance with what happened leading up to this game?
Well, as I said in the previous Bobcast sessions, we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
We're feeling out things. Again, we saw some things on film where we thought that we could expose and explore, or explore and expose, and it worked out for us early, especially early. Every coach in this league the coaching is really good.
Yeah.
And they figured it out. They figured it out a little late, but they definitely figured it out. And once they figured it out, they came storming back. And they came storming back really quick. So they made an adjustment a little late, and then we adjusted, and we kind of held on. But we'll see. We'll see. Some games we might have to go 10, 11, 12 deep. Probably won't go 14 again unless it's a blowout one way or another. I don't know. 9 guys worked hard and showed they wanted playing time in practice, and 9 guys doing the right things. 9 guys going to get them.
Just taking it game by game, pretty much.
Game by game, yes, sir.
So this week, 2 more games: West Virginia State and Charleston, 2 of the top teams so far in the conference. So what challenges do those teams pose to your guys this week?
Well, we'll take it game by game. I know West Virginia State, they are a really, really, really high scoring team. They score a ton of points. I think they have probably the second or third leading scorer in the league. These guys can really get up and down the court. They can really stroke it. They can get to the basket. We're going to have our hands full both games. I think both teams are 1-1 in the league. And we got our hands full. We're going to be on the road both games. Long road trips. It's going to be about 4 hours on the bus. We'll be with the women. We'll be cheering them on. They just lost a heartbreaker. Yeah. Against a great team. So we'll be riding with the women. We'll be cheering them on, and we expect nothing less than battles on Wednesday and Saturday, because they're both good teams, and both picked ahead of us in the league.
All right, well, Coach, thanks for joining us on the Bobcast, and best of luck this week.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Welcome back to the Bobcast presented by the Bobcat Sports Network. Matt Ambrose here with women's basketball head coach Carrie Saunders. Coach, you split your 2 games this past week, a win at Davis and Elkins on Tuesday before falling in overtime yesterday to Seton Hill, and 2 games for your team this week on the road at West Virginia State on Wednesday and at Charleston on Saturday. So let's start with the Davis and Elkins game first. That was really a close game throughout, but you were able to pull away down the stretch. What was the difference in the end that allowed you to come away with the win?
I think, one, our girls have been fighting for a win. So in a way, they had a lot of fire within them. But I think throughout that game, we knew that we were the better team in that matchup. And we exposed what we had. At halftime, we talked about when they went to the zone, we've got to find Diggs. She's our best shooter. We haven't developed another knockdown shooter like that yet. So, we had that discussion. And then I challenged our bigs at halftime as well, because that's another obviously key piece for us. But I think for the most part, our girls just bought in together. Whatever D&E tried to throw at us, we had a counter for it. They were really coachable, and I think when we're checked into games like that, we play better basketball. And everyone did everything that I asked for them to do. So it came out with a big win for us.
And then mentioned the Seton Hill game yesterday falling in overtime. But when you take this game and the D&E game and just take a step back and look at them, what do you think you learned about your team this past week, and how did they grow over these last two games?
I think we learned a tremendous amount last night at the Seton Hill game. That team's a really good team.
Yeah.
They're undefeated. They beat a D1 team in their exhibition game. That team's no joke. And we hung right there with them. With our defense being as good as it is, that's what we take pride in. And we've been working really hard to get our offense going. But the thing that I think we took from that game last night is how deep we can go in our bench. And they gave us really good minutes throughout the game. Anai Allen being one of those. I mean, Sierra, Cece, she hit not a game winner, but to tie us to go overtime. She had that confidence as a freshman to drive in there and get a bucket. There's a lot to take from in that game as far as how deep we can go within our bench when the matchups weren't there for our starting lineup. We had to go a little bit quicker because that's where we were beating them. We were beating them off the dribble with our quicker guards. Our quicker guards could defend because they like to drive, which made us pull from our bench.
Right.
So that's one thing that we definitely learned is that we can hang in there with the best of the best. And our starter, some of our starters played big minutes, but not all of our starters. So I think it really gained some confidence for some of those kids off the bench that they can come in and really give us great minutes.
Victoria Diggs had a big week, really. 19 points, 5 threes against Davis and Elkins, 5 more threes yesterday against Seton Hill, and 17 points. And something I noticed is she's shooting a lot more efficiently as well, shooting a higher percentage this week. How encouraging is that to see from your grad player?
It is very encouraging. She started off a little slow. I think a lot of it is we have a brand new team, and it was her trying to figure out where she fit. After one of the games, I was like, what do you need to be successful? It was after the West Virginia Westland game. She said, we just need to put up shots. I said, okay, done. And then that Sunday we came in for almost an hour and a half, 2 hours, and all we did was shoot. And I think that helped her confidence, helped her get her groove back. In the D&E game at halftime, I was like, if they're in a zone, you need to figure out a way to get the ball to Diggs and let her shoot. And that's exactly what the team did. And I think that's really unselfish of them to do that. And they did that. So, I'm glad that she's got a little bit of her groove back and her bounce back. We definitely need her to be able to shoot because right now she is our strongest threat from the outside. And we've got to make it a way that teams don't just sit in zones on us. A lot of times when she comes out of the game, teams go into a zone on us.
Right.
So we've definitely got to keep her shot flowing and also develop others.
And strong threat on the outside with Diggs. Also a strong threat inside. Jada Hollins had a great start to this year. She averaged 22 points and 11 boards this week in the 2 games. 2 more double-doubles for her as well. She's up to 4 now this season. When you look back to how she prepared for this season and the work during the offseason that she put in, what did you see in her work ethic that allowed her to have this kind of start to the season?
Yeah, I think, when she came back over the summer, I think mentally she was a completely different person. So whatever she did over the summer, kind of just finding that love for the game again. So a lot of the times, yes, she worked hard and yes, she prepped, but I think she kind of bought into, I only have a few years to play basketball and let's buy in. And I think mentally she came back a leader almost. She's the one that's got the loudest voice in practice. She's the one that's cheering everybody on, and everybody is feeding off of her. So her work and her prep has been tremendous, but also she's been working extremely hard in practice. She's really coachable. When we tell her to do things, she usually tries it. We've been getting on her for trying to go left, and she, I think, pulled 2 up and under moves to the left side yesterday. So it's one of those things that she's carrying over, things that we're trying to get her to improve upon. But she's a beast, She's also, like last night, she matched up on a guard. She can defend like nobody, like no other post player in this conference. She can get out on the perimeter because she's so quick-footed. But there's not much that can hold her back besides herself. And I think she finally realized that, and she's broken through. And I mean, to already have 4 double-doubles in a D2 season debut is crazy. So I'm really proud of her, and I can't wait to keep progressing her because she's going to just continue to be even more of a monster inside.
Other players who have progressed a lot in the few games this year. You mentioned one earlier, some of the bench players, Sierra Thomas. Also, first year Ariana Briggs Hall has logged some good minutes. 23 minutes yesterday, and a career high 11 points from her. When you look at those two, Briggs Hall and Thomas, what have you seen from them and how they've been able to be successful so far?
So, Cece, first of all, a freshman guard, coming in and playing big minutes for us, which we kind of expected because of her her ability to, her speed and her ability to also read the game, which is developing. She, we're talking to her about when to be selfish and when to kick, because she is an unselfish player, but we've kind of forced her to shoot more and kind of be a threat everywhere. We're really honing in on her defense, how she's got to get quicker, catch up to the college game, but everything that we throw at her, she's probably one of the most coachable kids that I've come across, and she doesn't mind also telling what she sees as well. But she's respectable. She, I think is a really good teammate, and she's providing really good minutes for us. If another team's pressing us, I feel like she's got to be in the game. And she also has a way to slash through a defense, and like she did to get that overtime, bucket as a freshman, to be able to do that is an amazing thing, and also is really exciting for the years to come for her. And then Ari, she is a freshman as well, but the thing about her is she confuses everybody else because they don't know what she is. Last night in the Seton Hill game, I literally saw 2 Seton Hill players say, "No, you have her. No, you have her," because they couldn't figure out if she was playing the 4 or the 3, because she's so quick off the dribble, but then she's super strong and super powerful in the post. So that's what she brings to us, is when we need to match, a defensive lineup from the other team, we can put her in because she's quicker. And especially when Amanda or Jada are in foul trouble, we can go a little bit quicker as well because she can handle the ball. So she's bringing a lot for us as well, and she's extremely coachable, and we're happy to have her.
What I saw this week with the 2 games is better defensive field goal percentage in both games. You held both D&E and Seton held under 40% from the field. That's something you'd only done once through the first 5 games of the year. And how you've been in a lot of games so far this year, but you won the D&E game, and you can make a strong case you should have won against Seton Hill yesterday.
Yes.
But having that defensive effort and keeping both of those teams to shooting percentages under 40%, how important is that, not just in these last 2 games, but how important is that going forward the rest of the season?
It's extremely important. Coming into this program, you're going to play defense. And it's paying off, and I think our girls are recognizing that. We talk about it. We talk about it in timeouts. We talk about it in practice. We talk about it in film. And 9 times out of 10, something defensively is coming out of my mouth before something offensively. So, it's really great to hold, 2 teams like that, and especially a team like Seton Hill to that percentage is fantastic. We talk about just containing. We have a scout every single day. It's a little different every single game, and it's a matter of them, absorbing that scout and then going out and doing it, and we've done it every single time. We haven't had to make too many in-game, adjustments. We live and die sometimes off of our man-to-man defense, and, we've got other defenses, and we're going to put in other things, but, I always have the belief that you've got to defend the ball, and the scoring will come. And that's kind of how we've been going about it. And I know it hasn't been, resulting in wins yet, but everybody knows that we're coming. And that's kind of what, we're relying on. I mean, even, the coach last night was like, "I knew tonight was going to be like this because your record doesn't indicate the type of team that you are." And that's exactly it. we're starting to gain respect, and we're not just this D3 team that's rolling in here. So yeah, our defense has definitely carried us and allowed us to be in these games for sure.
And that kind of goes into my last question: how you go into these these next two games this week? West Virginia State on Wednesday, Charleston on Saturday. Two more road games, and I mean, you kind of hinted at it, the mindset of this team. Where do you think that mindset is right now? I got to feel the girls are confident right now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I feel like I don't have to question their drive and their work ethic, which is kind of amazing for a team that's only won one game. Usually you walk into practice and it's like everyone's kind of just slump shoulders and not really wanting to be there, and that's the complete opposite of this team. Yeah, we haven't won many games, but we're 1-1 in the conference, and that's what we keep reminding them. And I mean, even last night, we got in the locker room and I said, "You guys know me. I don't schedule easy. We're not going out there and we're not just, we're playing teams that are going to prep us for conference. Like, these losses are eventually going to allow us to get us, sneak a few wins in conference play when it really matters, and us wanting to reach our goals. But, this next week, these next 2 weeks are going to be, brutal. I don't sugarcoat things either. We've got finals. We're on the road 4 games. We don't have home games right now. We are complete road warriors, and we've just got to we've got to be able to get our minds right and try and get a win, or 2 or 3 or 4 going into Christmas. And if we just continue to work hard and be coachable and believe in each other, we're going to get a win. But these next 4 games aren't going to be easy by any means. We're playing the top of the Mountain East to head into Christmas. I'm not sure how we got the luck of the draw to play all these teams back to back to back, but we don't back down, and we've got to go in and give it our all. So that's exactly what we're going to do.
Well, Coach, thanks for joining us again here on the Bobcast. Looking forward to watching your team this week.
Thank you.
Back here on the Bobcast, presented by the Bobcat Sports Network. Matt Ambrose here with track and field head coach Shane Brookshire. Coach, I welcome you back to the Bobcast. A couple weeks hiatus after the end of the track and field season, the end of the cross country season. Now into the track and field season beginning this Saturday, the Marty Pushkin Classic at West Virginia University. So when you look at this season and what your team is capable of, what's your outlook for both men and women's teams this season for you?
Well, on the men's side, I think we're going to be extremely strong in the throwing events, in both indoor and outdoor. We've got John Kearns, Mike Belker, James Nail, all returning seniors. We've got Preston Duffield, incoming freshman who was one of the best shot putters in the state of Maryland last year. And so I think we're definitely going to be strong on the throws. I'm excited to see how the distance guys do, based off of the strong cross-country season that they had. I think we're going to have some great depth in the mid-distance events, like the 800 and the mile. And on the sprints and jump side, we've definitely got some great talent there with freshman Nick Richardson. He's come in, kind of stepped in right away as one of our top sprinters, through the couple days of testing that we've done. We've got returners like Clay Washington, Demetrius Sims, also stepping it up and getting faster times. They're projected to have some strong seasons, on the jump side with Kevon Adams and Jonathan Jenkins as an incoming freshman. I think we're going to be strong there. And then on the women's side for the sprints, we've got Kayleen Estrada returning, Madison Watson. Those two have been looking strong in practices. And on the jump side there with Alyssa Mullery in the high jump, and she's also looking great in hurdles. And Amy Tremblay, who's going to step into the pole vault and be a great high jumper for us too. So I think overall we're really well-rounded, as a track team. And so I'm excited for this season.
We'll focus on the men's and women's sides here. When you look at the men's side in particular, who's one runner on that side that you really think will stand out this year? Maybe a returner who had some success last year, but you really expect to take a big step this year?
Well, I think just based off of his cross country season, it'd be Braxton Clark. I mean, he had such a strong cross country year, like dropping his time, that I feel that he's really going to see the benefits of the summer mileage and the fall training, like come into fruition during the track season. I think we lost Robbie Romano to graduation, and I think Braxton's ready to fill those shoes that Robbie left. And but I mean, he's not the only one. Like with Daniel Foster as well. I think Daniel's got a great future in the mile for his college career. And then I said when it comes down to the sprints, so I think freshman Nick Richardson, he's the testing results that he had was pretty unbelievable. And I think when we look forward 3-4 years down the road, he's going to be one of the best sprinters in the program's history. He's got that kind of potential.
How about on the women's side? Any runners or anyone on that side that you think could really step up and have a big year?
I think Kayleen Estrada can definitely have a big year. She ran a 65 for the 400 hurdles last year. She wants to go 63 this year. I think she's well on her way to accomplishing that. She's been great to have at practices, great to work with. Wish I had her for a few more years and stuff. I think she's going to be one of our top runners on the women's side. And but we've also got some good depth there in terms of the talent with Tiana Barnes and Shania Booker, that a couple of freshmen that are ready to take over the mantle of representing Frostburg.
When you look at some of the first years, the newcomers that really could come in and have an instant impact, what names come to mind on both sides?
On the women's side, I'd say Tiana Barnes, definitely has the talent, has the work ethic, has the drive. Alyssa Mullery, local runner from Fort Hill High School, she's looked great in the hurdles so far, doing well on the jump side. I think she's got the potential to be one of our top runners, top athletes this year and for years to come. And then Shania Booker, she's tested really well in the 20-second test and in the 45-second test that we did, and she's fast over the hurdles. And I think those three right there are definitely the future of Frostburg track on the women's side. And then on the men's side, Daniel Foster and Jaden Morley, on the when it comes down to mid distance and distance, they both did really well this cross country season. Nick Richardson on the sprints, and then Preston Duffield in the throws, and Jonathan Jenkins in the triple jump. I think he's got a bright future ahead for him too. So when we talk about the future, we've got strong freshmen on this team that not only will perform well their junior senior year, but I can see them making a huge impact at the conference meets this year.
Now, as I mentioned, you oversee two teams here. You have the cross country and the track and field. They do kind of fall under a similar microscope. You have all your cross country runners on these track and field teams as well. But so for you, how does, if at all, how does your coaching approach differ from preparing a group for a cross country meet as opposed to preparing a group for a track and field meet, because you have to deal with a lot more athletes with track and field?
Well, when it comes down to the cross country distance runners, they're able to specialize in their event areas, and so cross country is kind of just one distance, like the 8K, and you can either handle that distance or you can't. And when it comes to track, there's something for everybody. So the distance runners are able to actually specialize if they're more of a mid-distance type runner or a long-distance type runner. With Braxton, he's more long distance, so he's going to be focused on 5K, 10K, whereas Daniel's more that mid distance. Like he's going to be working towards that 800, 1500, and then we got like Jake Rickards, who's kind of right there in the middle. Like with he's had a strong 800, but the work that he put in for cross country, I think it's really going to drop his 1500 times down to hopefully a sub 4. And then when it comes to the other event areas, and I mean that's more so just having a great coaching staff like that. I've got coaches on my program this year that I trust, and that they're able to implement their ideas and stuff, and they handle their event groups, and that we kind of work together on trying to build the best program that we can, and so I can focus on my event areas with the distance runners and the throwers, and trust that my assistants are able to handle the rest of the team with the jumps, hurdles, and sprints.
So, as mentioned, first meet this Saturday, Marty Pushkin Classic, hosted by West Virginia University. It's your only event until mid-January with the Christmas break coming up. It's just getting started this weekend and then having a lot of time off, over a month and a half off. But in this first meet of the year, really, what are you expecting from your athletes this weekend?
Well, I want to see them be competitive. Like that's the main thing. Is like we've trained all fall, like since early September with all the non-cross country athletes. They've been going for a few months now, and so I think they're ready to showcase what they can actually do. And so, this is our early season meet. And to me, it serves as a kind of a stepping stone towards the rest of the season. Is that we can actually shake off the rust and see what we can accomplish. And really, I look at these times as just benchmarks for the rest of the season, like kind of get an idea as to what each athlete can do and where our strengths might lie, and then also kind of see where other teams are going to be at too. With West Liberty is going to be at this meet this weekend, and so we kind of get a real early look at how they look as a team. And but I mean, this meet is kind of a no pressure, just kind of go out there and see what we can do, and then make some adjustments for the rest of the indoor season.
Well, Coach, glad to have you back on the Bobcast, and looking forward to talking to you the rest of this track and field season.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.